Thank you for joining us on yet another edition of the Progress Report. We're so happy that you have been able to join us for this important discussion. For this discussion, we'll be talking about the mid-year report, and I have with me financial analyst, seasoned financial analyst, that Mr. Joel Bhagwandin. Mr. Bhagwandin, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me again, Shukwan.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So we'll talk briefly about the mid-year report. We've seen that come out and the richness of that report. From a general perspective, what are your thoughts on that report?
So the mid-year report, briefly, is a reflection of the outcome of the policies implemented by the administration through the budgetary mechanism. Mm-hmm. So there were fiscal policies implemented through 2020, 2021, 2022, as well as the result of the allocation of resources and capital expenditure in infrastructure development, social infrastructure, bridges, roads, developing new housing schemes, and these sort of things. So that is a reflection of the outcome at mid-year, half year. Of course, the results are positive overall, which is a good thing. It means the desired outcome of these policies are working. They're expansionary. They're conducive to stimulating, attracting investments, conducive for businesses to expand, businesses to grow, and that is important because that is how you would create employment. That's how you generate more income, pay more taxes, right? And that's how you propel sustainable development.
From the business perspective and what we've seen happen over the last the first half of the year rather, from your perspective, would you say that investments here in Guyana have ramped up, have increased, and in what sectors have you seen that?
So investments are taking place. Investments take time from the point of identifying the opportunities, scanning the market, looking for feasible, viable projects to invest in, viable ventures. I personally, we have a private consulting firm, and from that perspective, I could speak to the amount of investment proposals that we have processed in our company, in my private company, and to date from 2020 to now, it's more than $1 billion. In terms of proposals, right? These are investment proposals for the long term in all the sectors, across all sectors. More than $1 billion US in terms of estimated value that these are, including investors locally, investors from the diaspora, and the sectors they're looking at is the agriculture sector, agro-processing, hemp production, livestock. I did quite a few for livestock, soybean, corn production, agro-processing facilities, hotel projects, ecotourism, almost all these sectors, across all these sectors, restaurant. I've worked on some of the major, some key projects that are in the process of implementing. I will name them, but some key projects and some that you will see manifesting very soon in the future. So there are opportunities in all these sectors, but for the viewers to understand, to start a new investment, there's some work that have to happen behind the scene. You have to mobilize resources. You have to get a feasibility study done. And that's the type of stuff that we do. So it's from that perspective I can say that investment are the country is attracting investment in all these sectors, construction sector as well. Wales Development Authority, people are calling me every day asking me, where is the availability of land, because to invest you need land to put on a structure, a warehouse and so on. And so right now, to sum it up, the demand, there is a problem right now. Demand is outstripping supply. The demand for land, state land, private land is far greater than the amount of land that we have. So it means it will take time for the state, the government to, in these new developments, transformational development, developing, clearing new lands, building new roadways, we should open up more land. That takes time for those land to become available. So that's the constraint we're having right now. But on the good side of things, the economy, the country is very, very. It's the opportune time to identify where you want to invest.
One of the major things, Mr. Bhagwandin, that we've seen coming out of the mid-year report is the thriving oil and gas sector. From your perspective as well, what would you say is happening in the oil and gas sector briefly, and how that has been used by government to manage the economy, one, and to promote investment in the business sector as well?
So the oil and gas sector is driving everything that's happening in the economy. The oil and gas sector is fueling the momentum, right? Fueling the confidence, and we have to, as a country, and the government has to manage that level of confidence, ensure that it is maintained. Political stability, political investors, one of the number one risks that investors look at is political risk. And that is why people don't understand when there is one particular in the media fraternity, one popular media fraternity pushing this agenda for renegotiation, trying to trump up, build momentum there. But we have to understand, as you referenced before we started the show, I started a series on production sharing agreement, the stability clause. It is important to maintain the confidence in the economy and to send that signal to investors that we're going to respect the sanctity of contract, and we understand that this particular, when a company is going to invest, first of all, this country took 22 years to reach to reach a $4 billion economy, $4 billion US. When an investor comes in is investing 10 times more than the value of your economy, you need stability. I mean, if we invest $100,000 of our money, we want security. We want security that we're going to get it back plus interest. So imagine 10 times the value of an entire country. Stability is important, especially against the backdrop of the great uncertainty and volatilities and geopolitical tensions that has a bearing on oil prices and all of that, climate change policies and so forth. So I'm going to continue that series in agreement. But in the context of what you're saying, that is driving what's happening in the economy. That is driving all the other sectors. How government is using the resources. Government has been very shrewd, because despite the government understand the intricacies, they understand the politics, the international politics, the geopolitics, maintaining that relation with the U.S. and so forth, not to try to strong arm a big U.S. multinational company, but in a very shrewd way where people don't recognize that the government has found an even better way to get more out of the production sharing agreement without renegotiation. The local content. The local content is for the guy who's doing catering to get a piece of the pie. There's an opportunity for transportation services, logistic businesses, 40 areas carved out to maximize that 75% cost oil to spend in Guyana for Guyanese to benefit training and capacity development. The getting the oil company to finance the gas, bring the gas to shore for free, and to finance the pipeline infrastructure that is estimated over $1 billion. That is to directly benefit Guyanese. That is fantastic. So when you do the analysis, you may find, and this is the analysis I'm working on right now, you may find that the government has found a better way. And this is what they meant by better contract administration. It's a different way of, instead of going to renegotiation, let's find a different way to still get more, right? Then that would be far better than if we go to renegotiation.
And finally, Mr. Bhagwandin, what would you say as financial analyst, as a businessman, to foreign investors and even members of the Guyanese diaspora, those that may be mulling the idea of returning to invest? What advice would you give to them?
So they need to, pay attention to what's happening in the country. The question that I'm faced with, where are good opportunities? There are opportunities everywhere, in any sector, literally anything. To get into tomato business is a lucrative opportunity right now. We import in tomato from Brazil. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
Any sector, there is an opportunity. As an investor, identify what you are good at as a business person, what you're good at, what are your strengths, what are your capabilities, what resources you have at your disposal, and then develop your plan. Work on your business plan, work on your investment plan, how you're going to finance it, who you need to beat with, not government, but who are the partners, who are the stakeholders you need to bring, who you need to partner with. So there are the opportunities. We need to be strategic. Now is the time to be strategic and to develop our investment plans, and to not sit on it or just submit it in an agency and leave it, but to give it life, to be actively go after it, actively come and integrate yourself into the local network, join the business support associations, build your network in the private sector and so forth. Yeah.
Mr. Bhagwandin, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation here with me.
Thank you for having me again.
This has been The Progress Report. I'm your host, Shaquan Gill, saying goodbye for now.